Heyo, big welcome back to all the gamers, geeks, freaks, and fellow bearded enthusiasts with early onset arthritis. This is Donnatucci, your host of the BGPG YouTube channel, and the not-so-funny co-host of the Ham and Cheese Show. Today I have another Iron Banner game footage, as the proverbial clock on the Iron Banner gameplay has expired as of the recording of this show. I gotta say, I played a ton of Iron Banner across 2 of my 3 characters, and I would say for some reason this time it was fairly satisfying and somewhat successful loot haul this month for the month of March. I also recorded an absolute crap ton of footage, and so picking out a singular game for this week's gameplay breakdown was a bit tricky. So this episode gameplay is on TimeKeeper, and unlike the previous episode, this map is asymmetrical, which means it's not, split evenly, with at least 4 major choke points and strategic elevations on this map. I'm sure everyone that's played Destiny has played this map, so we'll jump kind of right on into this. Ooh, look at that handsome guy with the banner. Yeah.
Alpha team.
Anyway, sorry. All right, so jump right in. It's Supremacy, so if you're familiar with the gameplay or the game type, I shouldn't have to explain too much in that regard. One of the things that I wanted to focus on, and actually, let's pause here for a second. I'm going to pause. Okay, so before we get too far into this, I should probably talk about the title for this episode before going further. After looking over this gameplay footage during the Iron Banner this past week, it dawned on me why this particular ragtag team of Guardians was so successful, which you'll see by the end score, at literally dominating the other team. It was because the group team, in this case, in most cases, moved as a unit around the map. Sure, a lot of stragglers got picked off here and there, but it was a united or collective for most of the game. And so I'll stop in a few places to point this out and try to elaborate as to why that's so important in especially this game type, as well as some other team-based game types. So now, I know some of you may be saying, yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious, for those enlightening words of wisdom. Well, if it's so obvious, then why do the vast majority of players do not understand this principle when it comes to team-based game types? To that end, I hope to provide some context as to what sort of advantages that this can bring. Also, before I go on, I mentioned in episode 1 of the game breakdowns about my undying affection for the Jade Rabbit, and I apologize again to the Xbox Live players that, the whatever issue, I know what the issue was between Bungie and Microsoft, which is why Sony got more exclusives for the launch of Destiny, but whatever, we won't go there. But remarkably, one such viewer, yeah, that's right, a viewer asked, including some expletives, why do I like this gun so much? Well, it's because of one, if not 2 perks on the Jade Rabbit. And it is the, it leaves my mind right now. Oh, Fate of All Fools. So this perk on this bad boy, and I'll show you a picture here. You'll see the icon. If you're unfamiliar with it, basically it allows you to, and it says on Bungie's website and a bunch of other places, chain body shots to gain bonus damage on your next precision shot and return ammo to the mag. What that means is I can 3-shot someone and drop them if I'm actually on target, if I'm accurate with this thing. But I can 3-shot someone, 2 body and 1 to the head, and they're gone. They're done. Unless they have an overshield or unless they're sporting some special gear, for the most part, they will drop like a bag of shite, whatever. So again, which means I can 3-shot people all day long if you master the trigger cadence and the kick of the rifle, all while continually returning ammo back to the magazine without having to reload. That is the beauty of this perk. Now, there are other legendary scout rifles with the same archetype and almost all the same specs. However, they don't have this Fate of All Fools perk. So you couple that perk with the other awesome perk on the Jade Rabbit, that being the Zen Moment, and this scout rifle will decimate all. That sounds kind of familiar. I think that was from the first Fast and the Furious movie. Okay, moving on. So we're going to unpause here for a second, let this gameplay just keep rolling here for a second. Okay, so while Destiny is a game of skill, there is a lot of luck in this game. Even when it comes to perk rolls on legendary weapons, you know, there's a lot to be said for luck. Now, so here's one of the spots that I want to point out to you viewers to take note and to see how in sync this group is and watch how they're moving. Now, I'm not including myself in this group or in this example because by no means am I a good player, but just to see these guys just kind of work through this was amazing. Also, I should rightly point out that I am a more casual observer in this game rather than leading this group, considering how many times I got caught out by my lonesome. You know, again, I picked a lot of the people that were stragglers, which is predominantly most of my score in this entire game. And you see, as you can see, everyone's regrouping instantly. They get a kill and they regroup. Now, upcoming here. Now, here's another thing I wanted to point out. The radar is not smart. It only tracks movement or motion and proximity, and not the number of players or opponents. So when you use the quote-unquote buddy system, it's harder to get jumped and lose unless you are completely unaware of your surroundings. So let's take this as an example here, and I'm gonna pause this here. Here at the I would say 2-minute mark, but it's probably gonna be different on the YouTube channel. The player just charged in thinking he or she might have a nice one-on-one fight. Now that's clearly not the case, and it isn't a fair fight, that being the 4 versus 1. But what is really a fair fight anyway in Destiny? Now I know some of you might be thinking, well, that could happen to anyone. Now that is true, but if a player is just a singular guy rather than 2 or 3, sure, the outcome may have been the same due to the number of my quote-unquote teammates on the other side of that little doorway or that choke point. But those numbers lessen the degree to which that is an absolute rule. Meaning that if you had 2 or 3 versus 3 to 4, or even 3 to 5, you have a greater degree of actually coming out on top. Also, I should point out on this map that is an excellent choke point, that doorway there on this particular map. A single person with a proper grenade setup could level 3 people rather quickly on that choke point in terms of whether you're using solar or void, not stickies, but the more area effect. And I guess that's more relative to some of the warlock grenades and so forth. So we'll go ahead and kind of jump back into this. Now, I've already mentioned one of the choke points, but I wanted to mention a second big one on the map, and the keyhole is a big one here. Yeah, now I've already mentioned, so here I'm like an idiot throwing a grenade into the back of one of my teammates and look like a complete noob. And I think I need to do an entire episode on the instances where I was not aware of my surroundings and my teammates and wasted scoped shots, bullets, grenades, and worst of all, probably a super or 2. It's not my first time doing that, I'm sad to say. Now, notice after I spawned, after getting absolutely destroyed, I didn't just run off like a wolf, like a Call of Duty looking tool. I regrouped with the rest of the team. Now, noticing also that they were already regrouped. They were already back together in the same kind of same setup there. Now, here I will say I made the same mistake as one of the other clowns earlier in the game. I approached a choke point without regard for radar or general weapon awareness, and I got jumped by 2 guardians there, so I wasn't kind of crouching out. I will also add that in Supremacy as a game type lends to this sometimes reckless behavior, but that isn't always necessarily a proper excuse for that. Now look how tight they are roaming right now, and here's where I unfortunately learned how to discover to jump properly, or learn how to jump. Sad, I know. Oh, gonna let some of the gameplay play out here. So, all right. again, kind of watching one of the choke points here. Oh, this drives me nuts. Okay, this drives me nuts more than anything. This crap lag in the beatdown and then the delayed responses to the kill. Bungie's got to fix something with that, but it's clear that some people aren't working from the same type of internet than others are, and it affects gameplay for sure. Now, I clearly misjudge at this point who's on the other side of this choke point, and even more so, I misjudged my timing as to using my super. Pretty much wasted it. Oh, there's another lovely lag spawn point. And I ultimately get destroyed here with some iron wreaths. Look like an absolute tool.
Heavy ammo on the way.
Now here's something that I'm sure irritates a lot of players. It's that striking that right balance between getting to the super, or I'm sorry, getting to the heavy ammo in time, and then waiting for some of your teammates, but not waiting too long before the enemies come in. You know, in this case, my teammate popped it, so we just kind of ran with it. But it should be a common courtesy for people to wait just a little bit. But you know, not everyone plays that same way. A lot of the rest of this gameplay in this particular game type plays out. Yeah, I just got wrecked by Truth. Love that seeking missile. That sounded kind of... Yeah, I won't go there. Again, a lot of this, you'll see at the latter part of this, we've kind of all spread out. So we've lost a little bit of sort of somewhat of the theme, but you'll see here real quickly. Granted, this is right after a spawn. Everyone hurdles back in together and forms up pretty quickly. And we're dropping, other than me shooting my teammates in the back of the head, we're dropping people rather quickly in groups. And look, watching another choke point. Yeah, this is another lovely lag fest. Jeez, my gosh. That's the same clown that somehow can't afford a proper internet connection. Either that or he's jacking around with the connection on purpose, which could be the case, but it's just annoying beyond belief. One of the things that I've noticed a lot is, again, this lends to the tendencies of this particular game type, is that it forces people to not sit back. Yeah, horribly thrown grenade right there. But it forces people to not sit back, but instead you have to go and collect said, whatever they're called, orbs. I got beat down by King Mikey. Again, same clown, horrible internet, horrible. The entire game. I shouldn't even mention his gamer tag just because he's not. Most of this gameplay, everyone's stuck together. And in more than one situation, was it a situation? More than one situation in this gameplay, it was an issue where people would kind of circle around in sets of two around the same choke points, causing lots of chaos for the other team. And as you can see by the end score, 121 to 70, this was not even close. Wasn't even. There's no way that that this was even gonna come out even. So, again, one of the things that I said at the outset of this particular show was that, and again, as I mentioned, I was more of an observer rather than an actual. I mean, I tried to participate, but I was not leading the overall organization. The majority of that team stuck together throughout its entire gameplay, and that's why they, you know, as a group, as a team, we ended up winning. It wasn't because of my efforts, wasn't because of any singular efforts, but as a team, they ran roughshod over the entire other team. So I hope you guys, I hope I broke some of the stuff down. I hope you guys learned something from it in terms of in this particular game type, but also from the standpoint of Iron Banner, kind of what the supremacy game type was pushing. But also, you know, don't treat this like it's Call of Duty. Treat it a little differently, because it is. It's definitely not that particular run and gun. It can be, but some of these game types, you shouldn't play it that way, because you'll end up just getting decimated at the end of the day. So for Donnatucci and for the Bearded Guy Plays Games, the BGPG YouTube channel, see you later.